I'm gonna start because I'm curious about this segment. This is like a pretty tragic situation. Apparently, there was an altercation over a person flying their rainbow flag, which led to like a very tragic series of events. So I'm kind of curious about this.
Here's my.
Oh. Beautiful intro.
A tragic shooting has sent shockwaves through the LGBTQ community. A Southern California clothing store owner, 66-year-old Laura Ann or Lori Carlton, was shot and killed after an argument about a rainbow pride flag hanging outside her business. The suspected shooter, 27-year-old Travis Ikeguchi, also dead following a shootout with police after the suspect fled from the first shooting.
Yeah, okay.
Now, according to CNN, Ikeguchi had torn down the flag and yelled many homophobic slurs toward Carlton, and Ikeguchi shot Carlton when she confronted him.
Jesus Christ. I mean, this is like what happens when all like the homophobia and transphobia is just starting to come to a head. You know, this is what all like the vitriolic language around this topic is. It's kind of scary, man. Like it's scary. I'm not gay. You know, I'm not really scared for myself. But it's like, damn, man, people are really hate LGBTQ people, and it's so frustrating because for me, this whole thing makes me. This entire situation going on like genuinely makes me question my faith in God to a degree where like I don't know if I believe in God anymore. I know that sounds like really intense, but when you have people using the Bible to justify all this hatred, it's hard to believe like that like in God and religion. It really is, because there's just no way this is real. You know, the only thing that keeps like a shred of faith left for me is that the Bible has to be a test from God at this point. That's what it has to be. It has to be a test because it's such a dog shit piece of literature. And I don't mean to be rude, but I mean, you have the justification of sleeping with little girls the second that they hit their menstruation, marrying them. There's the justification of slavery. There's the comparison of slavery to being gay. It's just insane. And there's so many different iterations. Like you'd have to be ridiculous to not think that any of those versions have at least something wrong with them. So that's the only thing I have left, is that like if the only way God is real is if he put the Bible on earth as a test. If religious people want to sit here and tell me that God made gay people as a test, then you know what? God made the Bible as a test, because there's just no way. There's no way, dude. You know, it's insane. It's just fucking crazy. So I don't know. But if you gotta hate gay people to love God, then I don't know. I guess I'm just never going to do that. So, can you let me continue?
Now, while the official motive is still being investigated, police said in a news
if he's selling slurs, I'm sure we know what the official motive is.
Conference.
He's a casual Matt Walsh fan. That's what it is.
Late Monday, that the suspect had social media accounts containing anti-LGBTQ and anti-law enforcement material.
Activists are blaming anti-LGBTQ rhetoric for the violence. Alejandra Carballo tweeted, quote, "The bigot who murdered the woman with a pride flag on her business is a Matt Walsh fan. This follows Matt Walsh going on a rant on his podcast saying that the pride flag deserves our disrespect. Matt Walsh is directly inspiring murder and terrorism."
So here's the thing, like that by itself, saying the pride flag deserves our disrespect isn't inspiring murder or terrorism. But for everything that I've seen from Matt Walsh, how hateful and like vitriolic and disrespectful and disgusting he is when it comes to trans people, it's so distinctly different from someone like Ben Shapiro, who clearly does not like gay or trans people. But from what I've seen, I get no call to action from them. I haven't seen like any call to action from Ben Shapiro, but for Matt Walsh, like the way that he talks about these topics, it feels that way, right? Maybe I'm just wrong, but it kind of feels that way. But I don't think I am. That's why YouTube demonetized them. Matt Walsh is a particular piece of shit. So while obviously I wouldn't directly blame and say, well, Matt Walsh called for this. No, but I wouldn't say that. But I will say that this is the desired outcome, because I've seen Matt Walsh say things along the lines of like, we need to fight, as if this is like number one issue is the existence of gay and trans people, as if there's no other issues going on in the world, you know? As if that's number one. It's not number one issue. You want to know why? I mean, conservatives aren't angry at gay and trans people until they're told to be by Fox. they're angry that like life is harder now financially. So
that's the rest of the quote from Alejandra. Here is the rant in question from Matt Walsh's podcast.
Let's just put this plainly. The pride flag does not deserve our respect. In fact, it deserves our disrespect. It deserves our contempt and mockery. It is not the flag of gay people, okay? That's not what it is.
Well, it is. It's a flag. It is.
Gay people in America, they already have a flag. It's called the American flag. It's the flag we all share. Or our.
Oh my God, this is so gay. Sorry. Like I agree. You know, as a people, we are all very tribalistic, and it would be nice if we united under the tribe of being America. But I'm also not like a fucking a cuck, you know. So you can only love America so much before you feel disrespected by it so much. I mean, when you have situations where like student loans, you'll take out $50,000 worth of student loans, and you have to pay back $100,000 because of interest. You know, when you have drastically high costs for prescription medications, when you have drastically high costs for things like insulin, like our healthcare system's fucked. Our FDA isn't ineffective in letting people eat fucking poison. When you have some areas that don't even have proper filtration in water, when you have big government subsidies going to people like fucking, you know, Tesla, where they could sell their fucking carbon credits or whatever so that other companies can pollute more. And I don't know, when you have all this disgusting shit going on that's taking advantage of our system, how the fuck are you supposed to want to be an American? How are you supposed to identify with a government that's fucking you in the ass constantly? So like, I get it, it's cool to be like, hey, everybody should be American, but like the country at this point doesn't deserve it. Not to be, I love America. I'm an Eagle Scout. I retire American flags in a ceremonially. I'm a loser. I'm a literal loser. That's how much. But like, how could you not see that people don't want to identify as American? Like, what are you talking about? You know, what does America stand? And especially since the loudest America fucking glazers are people like this who just use it to hate gay and trans people. There's no fucking economic platform from conservatives. It's just constant meltdowns over a fucking dude's dick going in another guy's ass. Who cares? Like, let people do what they want. If you find it uncomfortable, like, that's, who cares? First of all, it's your you problem. Second of all, like, don't you think there's actual shit that's going on? Oh my God.
Are supposed to share. The pride flag, which was invented by a far-left activist drag queen,
good. Good. That's my next president. Who cares if it's a far-left activist drag queen?
Represents not a person or a people or a community, but an agenda.
Well, no, it's a community of gay people that have been. I mean, Matt Walsh knows this because he's fucking gay. This guy dreams of taking pipe in the ass on a daily basis, but he so fucking hates himself so much that he has to hate the entire fucking gay community.
A political and cultural agenda. It always has. It has from the very
agenda to what? To make fucking gay people not be oppressed.
Very beginning. It still does now.
Okay.
And today, nearly all of the most depraved and perverse attacks on children, on tradition, on decency, on common sense are waged under this banner.
No, they're waged under religion. Let's just like stop it with the gay grooming bullshit, because let's be real, the Bible and religion is the most predatory fucking disgusting thing I've ever seen. You have a fucking Bible that justifies slavery, raping slaves, raping children by letting them get married the second that they have their period. It creates these dynamics between older men priests and these children where they get raped by the priest, and then what happens? The fucking church waves it away, pretends like it's not a big deal, just sends the fucking person to here, go to another state, go to another church to rape a bunch of other kids. This is okay. Oh no. And then you want to say, well, that's not every religious person. Okay, but then every single time one fucking gay person like trips on a rock, all of a sudden all gay people can't fucking balance themselves. Dude, shut the fuck up. Enough is enough. Like the fucking, like, what are you talking about? The Bible is the biggest enabler of fucking abuse of children in the entire fucking world. There's nothing more. Wars are waged on the Bible. Children are murdered because of the Bible. What are you talking about? But some fucking gay guy dresses up in a goddamn dress and all of a sudden he's a threat to fucking kids. Oh my God, what are you talking about? It's like, do people even understand what they're saying anymore? Like, holy fuck. This is insane. Dude, this is wild. It's fucking insane. Holy shit. What are you talking about, bro? Oh my God. Gay and trans people just want to be left alone. Talk about fucking grooming. The only reason that people believe in the goddamn Bible in the fucking first place is because you got to get them as kids when they're too fucking stupid to understand anything. And they slowly learn, like, oh, wait, if the Earth's only 6,000 years old, where's this giant fucking dinosaur bone come from? Oh, well, that's a test. Everything's a test the second that you can't explain it to the Bible. Holy shit, dude. It's fucking crazy. It's wild. It's so annoying. Jesus Christ. These past couple of years have been so hateful to gay and trans people, man. It's just a fucking riling me up. Like, Jesus Christ. You want to know why there's so many atheists nowadays? It's because of the Bible. It's because of people like Matt Walsh. It's because of them. I don't know what to tell you. I don't even know what to tell you anymore. At this point, I feel genuinely bad for you if you don't question your own faith because of this shit. I feel bad. Then you're stupid if you don't go, fuck. If you don't even consider, like, damn, why the fuck is this piece of shit use the book that I love to justify hating people? It's just fucking annoying. I already know there's going to be cope comments when I post this segment. No, you don't know the Bible. The Old Testament is fucking ripe with disgusting shit. And all of a sudden, like, oh, no, but in the New Testament, there's a change. Really? This fucking all-seeing, all-powerful, all-knowing God changed his mind? Wow. Fucking smart guy. Shit. Incredible. It's like, fucking, that makes perfect sense. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any fucking sense. The whole thing is fucking crazy, bro. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Oh my god. Jesus fuck.
So first, it's worth noting, Carlton was a mother of 9 in a blended family. She seems to have been really beloved by her community.
The hell's a blended family?
But notably, this wasn't the first time she had had some disagreements over this flag. In the 2 years since she opened the store, her children told the press that vandals had on several occasions ripped down pride flags hanging outside. Each time they say her mother would replace them with bigger ones. Now, I'm really interested. I'm really curious about Matt Walsh's framing here. It does appear from the social media that the killer, he did watch Matt Walsh. He was a follower and a fan of Matt Walsh. So there is a more close connection here than in some other cases where people say some shooter just happened to maybe like Tucker, or, you know, the connection isn't really proven. We don't know if they watched this particular clip, but they did express that they were fans of Matt Walsh, and Matt Walsh is kind of unequivocally making a very strong statement about how he's linking the pride flag not to gay people, but to a perverse agenda that is exploitative of children.
Yeah, that's the whole goal. He's trying to say that being gay is specifically just an agenda to harm children, which is just stupid. It's so annoying.
Now, you know, what does one do with that? What does one do with that?
I mean, look, I don't agree with Matt Walsh's views on LGBT issues or what he said in that rant. I don't agree with it. So he didn't call on people to harass store owners or violate other people's property. You shouldn't mess with someone else's property.
Pajama Pro super chatted $2.54. Did you hear of Lucy Letby? If not, you should
so.
Google.
Yeah,
Pajama Pro super chatted $6.35. What is your opinion on Lucy Letby? By the way, I moved into London, started my job, and am doing great. It's been way easier than I thought. Love you, less than 3.
I love you too. I will take a look at it with my wife. I think I know who you're talking about. It's the nurse. I think it's terrible. It might be something for like our Rob and Dan, like little podcast thing for us to discuss there.
Somebody puts a pride flag up in their store, that's their business.
But thank you for the donations.
Or a non-pride or a whatever flag. It's their business. It's not your business. It's not. You can't.
Yeah, it's property rights. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. It's property. It's free speech, and it's your own property ownership. So as a conservative, you need to respect that because that's the only thing that you care about.
In fact, we're very concerned about disrespecting small businesses and crime and shoplifting and all those things going on. So this is not something that should be encouraged, obviously. And then murder, violent confrontation should not be encouraged. Do I think people like Matt Walsh should rein in their rhetoric on this? Of course.
1,000%.
Of course, I don't even agree with the underlying rhetoric. So
Like, absolutely. Like, if you listen again, any anti-LGBTQ sentiment is you're a fucking idiot if you think anything like that. You're just a dumb, uneducated fucking moron. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's like, what point am I at? Like, want me to jerk you off to make you feel better? Oh, well, I understand where you come from. You've been groomed by religion to think that gay people are wrong. I mean, that's what it comes down to. You want to use fucking grooming on everything? That's what it came down to. If you don't like gay people, you are groomed by religion. I'm tired of fucking sugarcoating it for morons, to be honest with you. But that's the fact. There's nothing logical about that book. So listen, I'm not trying to be hateful. Obviously I'm a little worked up. But the reality is that, like, at the very least, Ben Shapiro, the way he expresses himself is generally more reined in and less, it's not affirming of gay people, but I wouldn't say that any language I've heard from him incites violence. So, like, I listen to Ben. I enjoy Ben Shapiro, you know? But Matt Walsh is a particular piece of shit, you know? So you do have a responsibility as a creator to be more responsible with the way that you talk. At this point, you know, with the way that he speaks, I mean, he's already demonetized on YouTube, and they might need to take an additional step. And again, Ben Shapiro expresses anti-LGBTQ sentiment, and I'm not calling for his deplatforming. It's not what he's saying. It's how they're saying it. More than anything else.
You want me to say?
Yeah, the argument is that
specifically Matt
making about flags seems to be really befuddling to me. There is no pride flag, he says. Gay people, pride flag isn't for gay people because gay people have the American flag. That's the flag under which we all are represented, and that flag represents.
I mean, let's just keep in mind that Matt Walsh recently, there was a video that came out talking about how he thinks that like Hispanic or Mexican people are biologically inferior to white people. Like, let's just be real, because he said when he was having a conversation with another conservative, the conservative was like, yeah, people come here and then they absorb our culture and then like everything's cool. And Matt's like, no, that can't happen. Like, Mexican people just aren't capable of that. Like, he legitimately thinks less of anybody but white people.
People, as opposed to an ideology, as though we don't have like political ideologies in the United States of America, and there's a non-American imperialism and all of these things that we export around the globe. Never mind. He's saying the American flag represents human beings, no politics, and that the gay flag, because he said so, does not represent human beings. It represents politics, and particularly it represents a pernicious politics that is about molesting children.
Yeah, I don't agree with this, so I don't even really want to address or argue about it with you. Here's my...
I don't want to argue about it with you, but it does seem to me... I'm wrestling with this because you and I have both sat here and said, well, it obviously isn't the fault of some podcaster or whatever if a depraved individual decides to escalate something into murder.
I think that there's a difference. I mean, I think that fault is on a spectrum. Like, would I say that he should be personally charged? No, of course not. Do I think that his rhetoric is responsible in some capacity? Absolutely. Like, there has to be level. Like, when I was a really big, whatever, TikTokers, who cares? But, I was aware that, like, I would speak out against my own audience doing hateful shit because you have a big platform. So.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I generally speaking, believe that we should be very careful in making those kinds of accusations.
This is a horrible thing that happened, and this person is a killer, and I'm glad that I expect the police responded in the appropriate manner. But we're talking about this, right? Or we're nationally interested in this, or Alejandro Caballo, whoever you cited, is interested in this because it's one of the rare killings that has a very discernible or traceable political agenda. I mean, there have been 161 homicides in D.C. this year. It's going to be the highest year for homicides, in a long, long, long time. We're going to break, at this trajectory, we're absolutely going to exceed 200. None of them they're not killing people for right-wing reasons or left-wing reasons or anti-gay reasons or pro-gay reasons or environmental reasons or anything. It's just a lot of people in bad neighborhoods engaged in crime or antisocial activity, killing each other, killing bystanders, violence in the middle of the night.
So your question is why talk about this one?
Yeah.
I don't know. Why not talk about those? Like, this is the problem, right? The reason that this is being talked about, because it is LGBTQ, and there is a massive, specific movement targeting LGBTQ people. And this is another instance of that. That's why this is getting talked about. But with your question of, like, why talk about this one? The question is, why the fuck aren't you talking about the other ones, idiot? Like, right now, this is a conversation about LGBTQ hatred and violence and how it's getting riled up. You're the news guy, you fucking moron. Why don't you talk about the other ones, you fucking idiot? Talk about the other ones more. This is your show. You're like, what is wrong with you? Why talk about this one? Why not? Why not talk about the others? Just do more. Stop being a loser. What is wrong with you? Also, you're a pussy. Oh, why talk about this one? What are you, afraid? Fuck you. Like, this is stupid. Oh my God. Talk about those more. Talk about the solutions to those problems. Again, a lot of those problems centralize around like lack of financial access. But like, what is up with this? Oh, I talk about this one. What are you, like, bored of the segment? You fucking go home, like, loser. Jesus Christ. Maybe they told him to say this to be a contrarian.
I think, for one, many of us do talk about...
It's very atypical. Very atypical.
Many of us do talk about those other killings, and we similarly want to get to the root causes of them. If those of us on the left believe that these killings are related to gang activity that is fomented by a lack of parental guidance in the home, a lack of after-school activities, a lack
of money in general in those areas,
lack of quality education systems and the after-school activities that can keep people occupied, parents who are occupied by shifts that don't enable them to be around very much, all of the kinds of things that go into a lack of stability in the home. The left is deeply preoccupied.
This is a debate show? Oh, okay.
With addressing exactly those things, the root causes. And similarly in this case, when there does seem...
Is that true, or are you just saying that?
...to be
I don't know what I would listen
a
to.
more obvious than in most instances connection between the words out of somebody's mouth in a kind of incitement way and the direct actions that are taken by someone in the public, there is similarly a desire to say, well, should we curb that behavior just like we should curb gang activity or bad housing environments or abusive parent or whatever it is that is leading people, lead in pipes, all the things that have historically led to crime waves over time. This one seems to me to be of interest in part because if it is the case that very high profile and very famous interlocutors like Matt Walsh are in a position where they vilify a symbol and they vilify a community, and there is an increased incidence of crimes against those people, those communities, or people who aren't even in that community but simply fly a flag, then isn't there some responsibility to target the root cause of that violence the same way there I think is a social responsibility to target the root cause of all of these intermittent gang-related shootings that we've been experiencing in D.C.?
I mean, again, I think it is right and fine to criticize.
Well, thank you for telling me it's fine to criticize
Matt Walsh or anyone else who's being a bit inflammatory on this subject.
A bit, just a little bit inflammatory. They're as inflammatory as my fucking prostate. Okay, that's how inflamed Matt Walsh is.
Or more than a bit inflammatory on the subject. But what? There's no. I mean, he has a First Amendment right. There's no policy to address the things people say. Unless they're, so more than tangentially, but like so actually connected to a plot to commit violence.
So you're just like a dumb person, I'm assuming, that you're just a dumb idiot person. Nobody's sitting here saying that Matt Walsh should be held legally responsible, but like socially, like the conversation just gets shut down. So anytime somebody smarter than this guy talks, he just doesn't know what to say. Because what happens is like you can tell indirect threats of violence. And listening to Matt Walsh for long enough, he wants gay and trans people to be dead. Like that's the reality. He doesn't explicitly say it, but that's how he feels. You can tell that's the way he talks. He thinks inferior of anybody who's not like a straight white guy, right? This is just the reality of the situation. And so it's just like, well, we technically can't prove he wants this to happen. So like, let's not talk about it. Like, what are you talking about? What are you saying? Holy fuck. Like, God forbid people have a conversation about something.
And also, is this increasing or getting worse? Is there?
Yes.
I haven't seen like a statistical over time that incidents are actually getting worse, or that even that hate crimes are getting worse. We track them better. The way we count them is.
Bro, if you're not aware of the social atmosphere, the conservative social atmosphere, where like the only thing conservatives are obsessed with, like political, like whether it's politician conservatives or content creating conservatives like Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro, it is hyper obsessive about LGBTQ, gay and trans issues. Last year they wanted to ban gay marriage. This year it's just this constant fucking meltdown over gay and trans people. Like, are there statistics to back it up? There may or may not be. Sure. Are we able to say that there is a manifestation of this in the real world at this moment? Well, I mean, you could argue that this case absolutely is, but the social atmosphere is destructive. The Republican Party has no interest in the people, and let's just be real. The Democratic Party has slightly more interest in But when you're coming at when it's basically like someone who cares a little versus someone who doesn't care at all, like where the fuck are we left at? I just it's just like an annoying, like contrarian perspective, So
kind of Byzantine.
I know that obviously there's many people who put forward evidence that it is getting worse, and other people say that it's a kind.
Oh, so here's hate crimes. Here's a hate crime chart that's for 2023. There was an increase in anti-black hate crimes by 14%, Asian 167%. There's got gays 41% increase. Trans is a 15% increase. So we're like, I mean, statistically, it looks like there is an increase in hate crimes based off of Google search. I mean, I guess he didn't know how to do. I guess he doesn't know what Google is. So yeah, we're seeing more hate crimes against LGBTQ people. It's going up. A little Google search for you. It's pretty solid. It's incredible. Nice.
Error, and we can go round and round in circles about this. All I know is that this woman seems to be very clearly killed after the killer was provoked by language
and I would
that
say
said
he should be brought to justice, but he's dead. But
no, I'm talking about Matt Walsh.
Oh.
And so, like,
Matt Walsh should be brought
there
to
are
justice.
things short of criminal conviction. So part of the issue here is, I think, there has been an emboldenment among conservatives in engaging exactly.
This guy is what this is when people talk about the centrist slander. This is who they're talking about. This guy's a pussy.
This kind of language. There was a time when, if someone like Matt Walsh said something like this, then someone in Republican leadership, let's say
anybody would be like, "Hey, that's too far." Right? That's what would traditionally happen, or I would imagine.
What's his face?
Should happen.
2008 presidential Romney type or McCain, John McCain type would say that's wrong. That's way too far. LGBT people are Americans, and I want to govern them and treat them fairly among all other people.
Like that.
He does.
He marched in a Black Lives Matter parade.
He does. But what has happened is that the very few people like that existed are either dead or so far pushed to the margins of the Republican Party that you don't get any kind of moderating influence. I'm not talking about criminal penalties or criminalizing speech or anything on Matt Walsh, but there's no social consequences among conservatives to saying that people who fly pride flags are akin to child molesters. And it's leading, I think, in some ways, Matt Walsh would be better served if there was more kind of social policing and conditioning within his own community, short of obviously.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single conservative that I see that is like reasonable. Every one of them is a fucking idiot. Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Jordan Peterson. They're all coming and shitting their pants about gay people. And trans people. They're just dumb as shit when it comes to those topics.
Infringing upon his speech rights. He would be more credible. He wouldn't have to now deal with the firestorm he's about to face for being accused of inciting violence. And frankly, he's given a lot of energy and legitimacy to claims by some liberals that I don't generally agree with about how words are violence and how there are all of these negative implications that can come from people doing certain kinds of speech. I mean, if you don't want to have to.
But there's not all this speech-based violence. There is very little speech-based violence, or politically, speech is a fraud category, but violence because I hate you for your ideas.
There's very little child kidnapping, and there's very little violence in suburban neighborhoods, and all of the things that the news is alarmist about every single day are not the biggest problems in the country, and yet here we are. And there's an entire political system that is.
Well, here we are. We're talking about them to advocate for less of it, and again, it seems like hate crimes have gone up in the LGBTQ community. So this guy's saying is just fucking stupid. It sounds like he's tired of talking about gay shit. Get a new job. Go fucking, I don't know, go join a motorcycle gang. Although they're all fucking secretly gay too, so I don't know what to tell you. Just go do something else if you're not interested in the fucking topics. Complain to conservatives. The reason we talk about gay stuff every day is because fucking conservatives will shut the fuck up about it. It's always conservatives. It's almost always conservatives. Do not shut the fuck up about gay shit every fucking day. Gay, trans, Dylan Mulvaney. You're tired of hearing it, go fucking complain to those idiots. It's insane.
Motivated by people's perception of their safety. And to say that gay people and the straight people who love them, or at least support them, shouldn't be similarly motivated by someone with a huge multi-million following walking around saying that to fly a gay flag is akin to promoting child pedophilia and not have to live with the consequences. Even short of murdering somebody, there are consequences to going around saying that people who support gay people through flying a rainbow flag are akin to wanting to molest and abuse children. I mean, you have an entire Catholic Church that for years was dragged through the courts with criminal penalties for people who were demonstrably abusing children. And I would never deign to besmirch an individual Catholic person because of the sins of these institutional actors. And this man is sitting here saying the presence of a flag on your store basically makes you a child molester, and therefore this hop, skip, and jump to you deserve to die, frankly, isn't that big because of how we all rightly feel about child molesters. I mean, I don't know. I just think this kind of thing is something that the anti-woke conservatives are going to have to deal with. And I'd be really interested to see our reporters going to ask anti-woke presidential candidates about an instance like this. Do they disapprove of Matt Walsh's language and the killer's actions? I mean, even that, you can say, well, of course they should. Of course they do. That should be an easy layup. I agree, it should be an easy layup. But we have not had those kind of statements come out.
I wonder if it actually is. I wonder how many dumb fucking conservatives are like, no, I actually hate gay and trans people so much. If they say that they're not pedophiles, I won't vote for them.
In instances like this in the last few years. And I frankly think that if they did, there would be a reset for conservatives that would actually improve their legitimacy and their political chances, because I don't think anybody wants a world where flying a gay flag or being an ally to a gay person is so deeply stigmatized that you can risk being shot in front of your own store simply for flying a flag.
Well, like,
oh yeah, but I just take the L, you fucking idiot.
Obviously, I agree with that. These are not my views on any of these subjects or issues.
Why does this guy exist? He's a pussy. This guy's a fucking loser.
But it remains the case.
He wants to say something contrarian to what she's saying.
Can fly. People do it everywhere, and very rarely in this country are people killed for those reasons.
This is a kind of terrorism. I wouldn't blame anybody for being afraid to fly a flag as something like this can happen in California. That's horrifying.
This guy's a fucking pussy. Holy shit.
But statistically, it's not very.
But that's not how.
Okay. Holy fuck. Statistically, telling somebody to end their life doesn't actually cause them to end their life. And yeah, that's something that you're not supposed to do. You get banned for it. Okay. It's preventative measures. What are you talking about? Shut the fuck up. People don't have to get killed for it to be a bad thing. Holy shit. There's increase in hate crimes in the fucking gay community. Shit is getting worse. People should be able to be left alone if they have a fucking gay flag. It's not that deep. And this guy just needs to be like, oh yeah, he's not expressing any real sentiment that he cares. He doesn't give a shit about this person that was killed. This guy's a weirdo. This guy's a fucking loser.
How terrorism works. Ultimately, there were only how many lynchings that existed, a few thousand or whatever it was. I don't mean to minimize the number, but in terms of the population size, but you create an atmosphere of fear where it can happen to you. And so you curb your behavior. That's the whole point of terrorism. There was only one 9/11, but look at how it changed all of our policies with respect to the TSA and all of these kinds of things. So this is.
What do you mean? This guy's an idiot. This guy's just a coward.
This is all.
Well, that's why I put it. That's a good example of why these things need to be put in perspective, so we don't go over our skis and get ourselves into policies that are illiberal. But
having to have a better taking longer at the airport. Who cares?
I'm not talking about policies. I'm talking about, is there going to be even? We won't have to get to a conversation, I think, of what is allowed. If there could just be a conversation among people within Matt Walsh's own community about what is moral and right. Sometimes I think that not having a conversation about what's moral and right and good and what our community wants to support is leading people into then we just got to police it and we got to make it illegal. And I agree, that's not constructive. That's a slippery slope as well.
Yeah, I'm not his handler. I don't work with him. I'm often accused of working with him because I have a coworker at Reason whose name is Matt Welch. And I can't tell you how many times bookers for shows have had, oh, you work with Matt Walsh. Can you get? Nope, totally different people, totally different sets of views.
Okay, well, I'm never gonna watch this guy again. He's a fucking idiot. Okay. End of the segment.